So I'm standing out here with Mark Lechty from Little Prince, and we are at Seabright Gardens. And our plant pick is hardy fuchsias?
Yes,
is that right?
hardy fuchsias.
Well, then before you tell us about the ones that you have, which are beautiful, let's define the difference between hardy and non-hardy fuchsias.
Well, so, I mean, hardiness obviously refers to how cold that they'll tolerate in the wintertime. And there actually are some of the fuchsias that we use in hanging baskets are actually hardy. They're just more lax, and they have a trailing habit versus an upright habit. So basically what we're planting here are hardy upright fuchsias.
Okay, okay. And then I'm going to assume that all of these then that you're going to be selling us are that kind of varieties, right?
They are. And when you buy fuchsias, there's often two distinctions in terms of how hardy they are. There is fully hardy ones, which will usually be signified with just the letter H. Yeah. And then there's hardy with protection, which will be, they'll use the letters HWP for that.
Which makes sense.
Hardy with protection. Yeah.
So then you're going to actually be showing us how to plant them, because there is some specific things that you suggest that
Absolutely.
we do. So let's jump into that.
Okay. Well, the first thing you have to do is just walk around your garden and try and find a hole.
Because are you looking? Are you depending on gophers, dogs?
If there is no hole available, you'll have to dig one. And we happen to have found a hole here.
It's some kind of gardening miracle, isn't it?
Yeah. So the Golden Herald, I mean, I chose Golden Herald for this spot just because it looks like, there's a lot of other yellow foliage plants in here, and that's one of the beauties of this garden. And honestly, I love being able to plant something at Seabright Gardens because it is my favorite garden in all of the Northwest, probably. And so it's kind of an honor for me to plant something here.
And I bet they enjoy having you come and plant here as well.
Well, and one of the things I love about this garden is all of the different shades of foliage in it are just exquisite.
Yeah, and this will pair in perfectly in this area. Yeah. All right, so since this miraculous hole appeared,
so we're going to take this out of the pot. And I mean, when you're planting a fuchsia, you want to sink it deep. I mean, at least half the foliage should be covered up.
So now, before you go pulling on it, this is where people would normally plant it, right?
And so you're going to give yourself maybe one or two extra zones, climate zones.
By going that deep.
This is, when you talk about hardy with protection,
right.
I mean, we're protecting it now by getting those roots down there deep where they're not going to get touched by frost. Because when you watch new fuchsias or young fuchsias coming up that have been there over, a year or two, you're going to most of the time see the tops have been taken off or pruned out, and they'll be coming up from the ground. And so that's really what you want each year.
Perfect. Now, I've got to say, though, as you start filling in the soil, you're just moving it in normally, right?
So a fuchsia is like a tomato in that anything that's covered up is going to root down underneath there.
Which is, that's rare, but it does happen in nature, doesn't it? Okay. Yeah.
So we're just going to fill this in now with...
And so it looks like you're planting a much smaller plant, but that's not the truth.
Right. And so what will happen with it the first year is it will stay more compact than what it's, like this Golden Herald is eventually going to get roughly 3 feet tall and 3 feet wide. The first year it's probably only going to be 18 by 18. And it's partly because we planted it so deep to begin with.
But you're going to create a much stronger root system in the long term. Perfect. So now, Mark, tell me quickly about these other three that you have out here.
Okay.
Too.
So I brought this is one that they had here at Seabright Gardens. If I were planting this, I'd go clear up to there with it.
That's like a foot.
Yeah. I mean, the more you get underground, the better off it is.
Wonderful. And this
beauty? This is an awesome fuchsia called Delta Sarah. It's got a beautiful blue flower, blue corolla with a white sepals, and it's going to get about 3 by 3 feet. And this is Debron's Smoky Blues. This is one that was bred here locally by Ron and Debbie Monnier.
Lovely people.
And so it's got kind of dark green, almost bluish foliage, and blue and red flowers. So.
And certainly you have ways to get people to get this information right at Little Prince, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, all of our plants can be found at garden centers throughout the Northwest. And we have this huge event coming up at Little Prince, June 15th it begins at 4:30. It's the Hardy Plant Society of Oregon has an after hours event. And anyone who wants to come to this is welcome to come. If you want to become a member of the Hardy Plant Society of Oregon, they're giving a $10 off discount that night if you want to come. And
Lovely.
Frankly, there aren't very many opportunities
Right.
for people to actually come to Little Prince to see what we're doing there, and this happens to be one of them. So
perfect. Well, there you have it. So for information on where you can find these fuchsias at the garden center next to you, or if you want to get information on Seabright Hosta and Gardens, or if you just want to look up Mark online somewhere, go to gardentime.tv and we'll help you find all those things out. Thanks, Mark.
thank you, man.